What's up, nerds? If I sound a little off, I'm actually a little sick, and I'm trying to get over that. Excuse me. But I wanted to make this video because, well, I found something interesting, and I wanted to share it with you. Have you ever played a D&D or Pathfinder or any sort of interactive game at the table where somebody did something, I guess, best way to say it, in-game, created some conflict outside the game? For example, did somebody kill an NPC that you liked or someone at the table liked, and that caused conflict among you and your table mates, or however you want to put it? Did somebody do something that the DM was like, no, and kind of cause issues like that? Fill in whatever blank. We've all been there, I think. At least I know I have. For example, I was in a campaign where this happened a few times, and I really enjoyed the campaign for what it was, what it could have been. But ultimately, the campaign died because of a few players, and mainly one of them. Let me give a few examples. One of the players at the table was somebody who, I don't think he had that much experience with Pathfinder 1st Edition. However, he played off like he did. What I mean by that is we had two groups in one campaign because the first group got completely wiped. In all reality, my character in the first group could have ran away and tried to get a whole new party. But I'll be honest, in that situation, I was just trying to do what I could so I could recover their bodies. And it didn't work in my favor. In the first group, I had a psychic, we had a blood rager, a gunsmith, a gunslinger, and I forget what the other player made. I want to say it was a fighter, but I believe he was trying to make a fighter that was going to specialize into throwing things and having them return. And yeah, I believe that was our party. We came across a cleric with a couple of undead, and these undead were special because they had a freezing aura around them that did cold damage to us every turn. The problem that happened was we kind of ran in guns blazing and my team died. But that's not the issue that I'm going to bring up. The gunslinger thought that he could just continuously reload his gun and add his dexterity to damage. And in 1st edition, that's not how guns work in Pathfinder. You eventually get to add your dexterity to damage, and the way reload works, it is a clunky system at first, but gunslingers, when they eventually level up, they become quite adept at using those guns, and they become monsters. Well, this player wanted to get to that point quicker, and my GM at the time was trying to take a more focused position on GMing because he had other ideas that he wanted to bring into the game, and he wanted to focus on that, and he wanted us as players to focus on our characters and bring what we should to the table. Needless to say, I, as a DM, and someone who played quite often at the time, got really excited. I actually liked that level of trust in us. However, as somebody who has played with a gunslinger before, I know how clunky they are. I've played one, and a friend of mine has played one. In fact, we used to, as a little aside, we used to have little fake fights where we just make characters and have them 1v1 each other, which was goofy, to say the least. I noticed that the player was playing the gunslinger way too efficiently for his level. I brought it up, and he had a problem with me bringing it up. And some of the people at the table, well, actually one other person at the table was like, "Why would you do that?" It's like, well, because the DM, he's going to make challenges to equal what we can do. Needless to say, it didn't really matter. He didn't know what he was doing, and our party died anyway. The next party was a witch, a cleric, an alchemist, and I think another fighter, but a regular sword and board. I don't remember. I think so, though. That being said, the gunslinger player was the alchemist, and he did the same thing, but in a different way. He thought you could just keep making bombs and bombs and bombs and bombs and bombs and bombs and not get rid of them, when in the rules itself it says you have to recycle them. You can only have this many per day. Again, it was something I brought up. Long story short, this player was something... So he did things in game that made me feel a certain way outside of it. That's not the worst of it. The worst of it was when we had a cleric who was supposed to be good decide that, well, in one encounter, when it seemed like we were in way over our heads, he just wanted to give up and die. That kind of made the whole table go, "What the fuck, man? You're a cleric, you could heal us." Then in another instance where we procured a cursed ruby with the soul of a little girl, instead of trying to find her family, which we knew or had an inkling of, he wanted to sell it for quick cash. And that made me and the DM go, "What the fuck? What is wrong with you?" Now, granted, this is all stuff at the table, and it only lasts for a little bit. Never have I ever gotten extremely mad at somebody. I've pretty much decided, after playing with a few people, that I would just... They're not my kind of person to play with. I don't hate them. I'm not mad at them anymore. The anger would have just been like a very minor thing. It doesn't really matter. But we would move on. I know that was a long anecdote, but I wanted to bring that up because today's story that I wanted to bring up from the D&D subreddit reminded me of those days. Now, I didn't read the entire story, and in fact, this person has already said that it's been resolved, but the headline of it just brought back nostalgia, if I had to say anything, like, reason why, I guess. So, because of my nostalgia trip, I'm going to show you this story, read it to you, and give a reaction, and you guys can also give your opinion down below. And if you could, please like and share this video with other people. The engagement helps. If there's something you would like me to read, submit something down below. And if you make music, I would also like to see if we can feature music on this channel from smaller creators and just share the love. Also, if you have not seen it yet, my last video was about the benefits of tabletop RPGs for those who are neurospicy or on the spectrum, or just simply put, autistic. If you could, please give that video a watch. I would really like to boost that one because I feel like spreading positivity about autism and the benefits of tabletop RPGs is something very good that we should want to see more of. Anyway, without further because of my long-ass anecdotes and long-windedness, let's get to the actual story. So here we are, the story submitted by Wheezy Money 166. I killed an NPC who tried to kill us, and a guy in the party is mad at me in real life. One thing I did not consider getting into this is this might happen more often with people who might play with random players. So if you are somebody who likes to dive into more random parties, I would love to know your experience if something like this happened. We'll go over the resolve part and then the story. So I guess we're gonna do a little backward storytelling. Resolved. We met yesterday for the session and he apologized for attacking me via WhatsApp. I don't know if you can call that attacking. English is not my first language, so attacking, okay, alright, cool, is the best translation, I think. He said that he got angry because the guide was the first and only NPC he felt his character had a connection to send his story forward. So he felt like his character wasn't that relevant and important. We also talked to the DM and everything was fixed. Thanks for the advices. And of course, edited for explaining how it went. So I guess he had it one way, but then because of the talking that he did, he edited. Okay, cool. The story. A few months ago, I started the campaign with some friends, and I wanted to play a warlock. I wanted my patron to be Zariel, and after talking to my DM, she said that it was okay as long as I wasn't going to be an asshole, just for the sake of it. My lore knowledge for D&D is not the greatest, so I'll have to look up what Zoriel is. To give a little background out of game context, when I created the character, I rolled 2 18 and a 16. Ooh, nice. But also an 8, 9, and a 10. So I decided to build the character like this. Law is a simple guy coming from a simple home with no magic, power, nor particular abilities whatsoever. Since he's not a genius, 8 intelligence, he's not strong, 9 strength, and he's definitely not wise, 10 wisdom. Well, you're average. He often ended up in troubles, and has more than once joined the wrong crowd. After getting discarded and left for dead by a girl whom he considered a friend, his vision of the world became black and white. He was then lucky enough to have a vision of Zoriel, and managed to make a pact with her. She was going to lend him power, as long as he was going to send her the souls of the evil he was going to purge. In-game, this translated in finishing monsters and people with Eldritch Blast, that the DM and I decided to color with a dark orange. And everything went fine until 2 sessions ago. An NPC that had been following us and had been helping us in moving through a dungeon, imagine a series of Aztec temples, betrayed us and left us for dead while he was running away with the relic we needed to recover. We managed to escape, find him, recover the relic, and we fought him. We managed to defeat him, but we didn't kill him, because we wanted to know why he betrayed us. After he told us that he was working for a black market fence, and that he was paid handsomely to recover the relic, a magic bow, and that he has always done that. We talked about killing him, but even though I wanted to because it would have meant pleasing Zoriel, I was outvoted 3-1, with another guy not voting. I was fine with that, but I said that we needed to at least put him in prison so that he could pay for his crimes, because it wasn't the first time he betrayed people and left them to die. We voted on that again, because our ranger, who bonded with him during the sessions over their love for adventure and nature, wanted to redeem him and give him another chance. We started arguing in-game. In real life, we were all having fun and being pretty chill about it. When our DM asked our cleric to roll a dex saving throw, she failed, so she got paralyzed as the guy tried to run away. The DM gave us 10 seconds total to choose a reaction. This is a homebrew rule that she added. If an NPC does something that would start a fight round, and we are all close to them, we have 10 real-life seconds to make a reaction. Our wizard tried to cast Hold Person on him, but he passed the saving throw. Our paladin swore IRL and lost her reaction. Okay. Our ranger tried to jump on him and tackle him, but she failed the throw. And I simply said, I Eldritch Blast. Nat 20. 23 damage. And the guy died. Oh, I guess with how they flavored the Eldritch Blast, I guess his body just chars up and goes away. We'll see. Now, everyone was laughing, and again, we were all having fun. Our DM also joked that for me, it's always high noon, due to my tendency of shooting Eldritch Blast as a way to say, hello. The guy playing the ranger got silent and barely interacted with us for the rest of the session, which ended 10 minutes after this happened. A few hours later, he texted me in private asking me why I did that. And after I explained to him my in-game reasons, you only get one chance to be good, and this guy had plenty, he still tried to escape after we decided not to kill him. We didn't know if he was going to talk about us to the black market guy. I jokingly asked him if he was really mad at me for a fictional character. He replied with no, and then didn't text anything. The next day, our DM texted me asking me why I argued with him. We talked for a while, sending each other screenshots of the conversation, and she told me not to worry, and that she would have talked to the guy. Later, he texted me asking me why I was an asshole and bitched to the DM. I ignored him and decided to talk to him in person in the next session to fix this. But 2 sessions ago, he didn't show because time... What? Because he legitimately got a fever. I guess at that time he got a fever. And our paladin is in the same course with him and said that he didn't show for 3 days. And last session, I wasn't able to go because I had work. We were going to see each other tomorrow, and I honestly don't want to make it a big deal, especially because I'm really enjoying the party's whole dynamic, and I'm having a lot of fun. But I'm kind of pissed that the DM had to text me to solve this, and that he is so pissed for something that happened in-game. Got any advice? Well, my overall feeling from this story is actually a good one. The party seems to be having a lot of fun, they seem to be getting along quite well, and they're getting emotionally invested into everything, which is fantastic. That's what you want to see players do. So I think that the fact that this is even an issue, this wasn't, okay, I'll admit, this wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. But the fact that they're getting, you know, emotionally invested into the game, that's a really cool thing. And obviously we saw that they resolved the whole issue, which is what you want to see. I'm not always going to try to find stories that are like all bad or whatever. I think that finding these stories of positive outcomes through a little bit of disagreement, I think that's a healthy way to show another facet of this game. Because this will happen. Every player that comes to the table offers something different. A different perspective, a different methodology. And that's going to conflict with people. What's even crazier about this whole perspective thing is you can create different parties, and how you want to go about the usage of your character can also change how you would face things. And that change can also change the dynamic at the table. It's not just, oh, we're all super best friends and we'll never argue. No, there's going to be things that's going to cause you guys to question certain decisions made by other players. Hell, I've seen people who are partners have arguments with each other over what was the best course of action. My DM and his girlfriend played in games together, and they jumped on each other a lot. I've done similar things with my wife. I will say, though, when it comes to me and my wife, we're usually on either side of the DM screen. Either she DMs or I do. We're both going to share that. If there's ever a chance for us to both be players, it's rare. I know the story wasn't super involved, or, you know, it's not going to have a strong reaction, but I think finding stories that we can show off the positive side of tabletop RPGs, because they resolved it like adults, I think that's a good win in our book. Like I said earlier, if you could comment about a story where, you know what, instead of a story where things went bad, even if in the situation things did go bad, why don't you tell a story where things eventually went well for you? If you were in a situation where in-game actions caused out-of-game issues, but you guys resolved it, why don't you tell us about it down below? I'd love to hear about it. I'm going to put this out there for a future video. I'm going to be doing, I have a lot of plans for this channel. I just need time to do them. I want to look at the craziest spells that Pathfinder and D&D offer, even homebrew spells. So if you could, or if you want, share any sort of crazy spells that you've seen in Pathfinder or D&D. I'm mainly focusing on Pathfinder because I'm kind of currently obsessed with it. We're planning and running a Pathfinder 2nd edition game. I'm actually converting a first edition adventure to 2nd edition. I'm not converting it, someone already did, so I'm just using that. But if you could find really interesting spells, they don't have to be powerful, they don't have to be the most useful even, just crazy spells. Like, say there's a spell that makes someone shed their skin. I saw someone talk about a spell called Flens, where it's basically cleanse and flesh put together, where if it deals enough damage, it renders all the viscera off of a skeleton, leaves a clean skeleton behind. That spell is awesome to me. That's amazing. And it gave me a huge nostalgia rush because there was something similar in a game called Legacy of Kain Blood Omen that did almost the same exact thing. So as soon as I heard about the spell, I got super giddy like a little boy nerd, and it was great. So anyway, thank you for watching this video. If you got this far, I appreciate it. Leave a like, subscribe, and hell, if you could, share this with other people. I would appreciate it. I'll see you in the next video, and as always, be good people. Bye.